Hey everybody, this is a very different video than what I normally do, but I want to tell you about something really scary that happened to my family tonight. I'm doing this because even though this was a pretty traumatic event for us as a family, it really taught us some lessons and it made us think about a lot of things. And I want to share those lessons with you because if this can help anybody who may have been in our situation or may find themselves in our situation, then it'll be worth it. I'm going to obscure a few of the details just because if the people who were involved in this see this video, I don't want them to find out who I am. We were coming home from vacation tonight, and it was me, my wife, and our 4 kids in our car. All of our kids are still in car seats. We're driving. It's about 5 in the afternoon. We pull over to use the bathroom and pick up some snacks. So we stop at this place. I get out, I go in, I use the bathroom, and I'm like, this bathroom's too disgusting for the rest of the family to use. We gotta go somewhere else. So we went across the street, we used the bathroom at this other place. It's a fast food restaurant. Again, I'm not gonna say what stores these are because I don't wanna give too much detail. But we go over and my wife takes 2 of my kids in to use the bathroom at this fast food place. She comes back, we need to feed the baby. Like we have a 6-month-old baby and she's like, I need to feed our 6-month-old. What we decided to do was we needed to get snacks, and right next door there was a gas station that had like a place you could go in and get snacks. For me, it's usually Milky Ways. So we pull into the parking lot of this gas station. We park, we get out, we get the baby out of the car seat, and Rachel brings her up to the front seat, parked. And starts nursing the baby. Once she was good to go, I took some trash that was in the car that had just been collected from our trip, and I took it over to dump it in the trash cans that are by the gas pumps. And when I did that, I was just about to walk into the gas station to buy some snacks. And I happened to look over back at my car, and I noticed that 2 cars over, there was a guy, like 2 guys standing outside of, 2 cars talking, nothing out of the ordinary. But I noticed that one of the guys had a gun in his hand. And it wasn't just like on him, it was literally, he had it in his hand. And it was a pistol, it was black, probably like a 9mm or a 40 caliber, something like that. So immediately, because I noticed that, I thought, okay, I don't know what this guy's doing, but I don't want to be around for it. And so instead of going into the gas station, I went straight back to the car and I tapped on the window, because one of the things that we do, and I highly recommend this, is every time I leave the car, like if we're traveling and we're all together, if I'm going to go into a gas station or go into Walmart to pick something up or go in anywhere, I always lock the door. I always ask my wife to lock the door. And if I'm in the car, I lock the door. And the reason why is because so many carjackings happen from someone just coming up to the door and opening it and getting in. So by just simply having the door locked, it provides a barrier. Because now if they want to get in, they got to break the window. So it just gives you more time. So the door's locked. I go up to it. I tap on the window. I'm like, hey, let me in. She unlocks the door. I get in. I'm like, we got to get out of here. That guy has a gun. Rachel looks over, she sees the guy, she sees the gun. She had already felt a little eerie. She was noticing that he was looking at her. Now we're in the situation where we have a baby in the front seat on Rachel's lap, which you're not supposed to drive when you have a baby, but when somebody has a gun and you don't know what they're going to do with it, you get out of there. So you might criticize me for that, but that's what we did. So I pull out of there. We get out of there, and we had just gotten off the interstate to go to these places, but I didn't want to jump back on the interstate with a baby in my wife's lap. So I thought, okay, whatever these people are doing, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're going to go rob the store. I don't know if it's just a coincidence that maybe he was, playing with his gun, or I have no idea. But I'm like, I don't want to stick around for it. So we leave. We go back under under where the highway is to the other side of the interstate where there's other gas stations and other fast food places. And we pull into this fast food place on the other side, several stores down. This is a small town, by the way, in the middle of nowhere. Just an exit with a few gas stations and a few fast food places. Not a whole lot of people. It was broad daylight. It was about 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. But there wasn't a whole lot of people around, and it wasn't a very populated area. So we go over, I back into a spot, keep my eye on the road just in case. And I'm thinking, we're fine. Rachel keeps nursing the baby. We just kind of got out of the area and we're good. Well, then I look over and I see that the dude is pulling into the parking lot in the same car that I saw him in, because there was two cars, a car and an SUV. He's pulling into the parking lot and heading right towards us. And we're both like, that's the guy and that's the car. And we're like, maybe it's coincidental. Maybe he's just going to this drive-through. Nope. He passes the drive-through and he comes straight towards me. So fortunately, I had backed into my spot and I just put it in drive and I got out of there. And I went and I pulled out. And again, we still have a baby in my wife's lap. So if you're asking, why didn't you just get on the highway and get out of there? It's because we were trying to get this baby back in the car seat. So at this point, we're like, oh my gosh, why did he come over there? What's going on? So we pull out of the place that we were in. We get out onto the road, and I look in my rearview mirror to see if he follows us or if he goes the other way. Well, he went the other way back to where they were. So I thought, okay, well, maybe that was purely coincidental. Either way, we're getting out of here. So we go and we find this, just right down, we find this used car lot. It was a Sunday, so it wasn't open. This particular used car lot wasn't open. And I pull in there, kind of back into the car lot, facing the road, so I can still kind of watch the road. And we're trying to figure out, how to get the baby in the car seat while still being in the car. And we're in an SUV. It's not a minivan, so it's not as easy as some of you who can walk back in a minivan. And I know we probably should have a minivan with 4 kids doing travel. But we don't have a minivan. We have an SUV. So we're trying to figure this out. And I'm watching the road. And my wife's trying to figure this out. And all of a sudden, I see an SUV pull up. And it's the one that was next to the car. And pull into the car lot that we're in. The guy that had the gun. Like, somebody else is driving. The guy that had the gun is in the passenger seat. They're coming right into the car dealership right at us. So I freaking put it, I put the pedal to the metal, as they say, and I got out of there. And baby and all in the driver's seat, baby and all in the passenger seat, I got out of there as fast as I could, got back onto the interstate, and we called 911. And we're speeding down the highway. I'm going as fast as I felt like I could responsibly go, knowing that there's a baby not strapped into a car seat. I was being cautious, but they were behind us. They came on to the highway. We could see the SUV that they were driving. So we're calling 911 and we're like, hey, these guys who had guns they were here, and then we left and they followed us, and then we left again and they followed us again, and now they're following us. And so we were going as fast as we could, We finally, on the highway, got the baby in the car seat. Then I sped up even more, went even faster. And we managed to get some space between us and them. We're on the phone with 911. They're asking, and I'm giving them everything that happened while I'm driving down the road. My wife's holding the phone, we're on speaker, and I'm like, hey, this is what happened. So we're thinking, okay, they're going to tell us that, hey, there's a state trooper on mile marker, whatever, and he's going to be there waiting for you. Well, that didn't happen. They just say, well, we'll keep an eye out for these people and be safe out there, and we'll let you know if we track them down. But we were basically on our own, because by this point we didn't see them in our rearview mirror anymore. I don't know if they gave up or if we outran them or too many cars got between us and them. So we get done with that 911 call. We get a little further down the road, probably maybe 10, 15 miles down the road. We're in a totally new town now. All of a sudden I look in my rearview mirror and I see the SUV behind us, a few cars back. So now we call 911 again. Now it's a new 911. It's a new police department that gets dispatched to us. And I explain the whole thing all over again. And they had us do some things like getting off the highway on a certain exit where they had a police officer ready to go if we needed it. And they wanted to know if the people got up with us. And by this point, I was going so fast and trying to get as many cars between us and them as I possibly could, that by the time I exited, I don't even know if they could see us at that point. So we finished the 911 call. We determined that at that point we had lost them, and we got home. We had about 2.5 hours left on our trip to get home. So that was scary. It was a scary experience. I mean, for some of you, maybe you have dealt with way more. Maybe you've been robbed at gunpoint. Maybe you've been mugged. Maybe you've been carjacked. Maybe way worse. But that was a scary, scary thing where I felt incredibly vulnerable. And I want to draw out 3 lessons, because on this channel, I talk about personal development. Along with self-publishing and online business, I talk about life. And so I really, as we drove home and just talked through it, there's 3 things that really stuck out to us. Number 1 is just being grateful. I mean, that we're still alive, that nobody harmed our family, that we believe God protected us. And we were praying the whole time. We were texting family, and I wasn't texting. I was driving the car very fast. But my wife was texting people saying, hey, please pray for us. You know, prior to that, we're having a great time. We're coming back from vacation. Our kids sometimes they were asleep. Sometimes they're waking up and crying. And you just don't know how quickly things can end. You can go 1 minute from walking into a gas station, and if something had gone differently, if I didn't see them, who knows? They could have held my wife at gunpoint and taken her car and taken all my kids and my wife away from me. They could have killed them and then killed me. They could have robbed us and taken all of our stuff. Who knows what could have happened? But it's really, really freaking scary to think about, and it makes me grateful that we made it home and we're alive and we're safe and we're together. So I'm praising God for that right now. So that's number 1, just gratitude. Number 2 is situational awareness. There's a YouTube channel that I listen to, that I watch. It's called Active Self-Protection. He talks a lot about scenarios where people experience things like this. And usually looking at video surveillance, he kind of talks through how they were able to escape or not escape. And one of the things he says is that, and I'll link to his channel below, but one of the things he says is that awareness buys you time, and time buys you options. What that means is that when you're out in public and you're in what's called transitional spaces, like gas stations, like traveling in your car, like parking lots, basically anywhere in public, transitional spaces, and you're vulnerable in those spaces. And anything can happen in those situations. And the best thing that you can do to be prepared is to be aware. Awareness buys you time. What that means simply is that, I looked over and I saw a guy holding a gun and walking over towards his friend, but also walking towards my wife's car. Don't know what he was going to do with it, but because I was aware, we had time. And because we had time, we had options. I was able to get in my car, put it in reverse, get the heck out of there. Then it happened again, right? Because we weren't oblivious, we didn't feel like, hey, we're out of the danger zone, I'm still watching. And because I was aware, the guy pulled in the parking lot at the fast food place and we got out of there. And then again, we're still trying to get the baby in the car seat. Guy pulls in the used car lot, we're watching, we get the heck out of there. So awareness buys you time, and time buys you options. And so many things can happen in life where people have ill intentions and would do something to you, and you can avoid that. You can avoid the worst outcomes. Not always. Sometimes people sneak up on you. Sometimes there's just no way you could know. But when I threw that trash in the trash can and I was walking into the gas station, I didn't have my face buried in my phone. I wasn't just, I was just looking around, looking at my surroundings. Paranoid? No, I'm not paranoid. I'm aware. And I think that served me well, because just looking and seeing, hey, this person has a gun, that's different. It wasn't on him. He was holding it in his hand. He was brandishing it. That's different. And so I noticed that. Because I noticed that, we were able to make a choice to do something different, get out of there. So number 1 is gratitude. I'm just thankful that we're alive. And I'm reminded how precious life and family really is. Number 2, situational awareness. Number 3, the third lesson is, no one's going to come save you. The police were helpful in the sense that we had them on the phone, and if things had maybe gotten worse, they would have sent people to us. But essentially, they were not there. Now, this is not, I'm not down on police or anything like that. I mean, they were on the phone with us. I was on with the dispatcher, and had it gotten worse or these people caught up to us, then I'm sure that we would have figured something out with police. But the police weren't there in the town when we needed, and when we called, there wasn't anywhere for us to go. And this is not a knock on police. What I'm trying to say is that you have to take responsibility, and I have to take responsibility for our basic personal safety. But I think sometimes we feel sometimes safe enough, depending on your background, where you're from, kind of what experiences you've had. But a lot of times you can think, well, the odds of this happening, the odds of me being mugged or kidnapped or robbed or whatever, that's just, the odds are very low, so we don't think about it. And we think, well, if it does happen, hey, there are police and other people around or whatever. Listen, we were completely on our own to deal with this. We were praying and we were driving. And thank God that we had awareness. Thank God that we didn't get out of the car. Thank God that everybody was in the car and we could just go right in that moment. There were so many things that were so good that lined up. But I'm just telling you, your safety, my safety, no one's going to come rescue you until probably it's too late. And this just, police can't just be everywhere. It's just the way it is. So those are the things that I learned from it. I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced something like this? Maybe you know more than I do about what could have been going on. I would be interested to hear your thoughts, because it's confusing. Why did they follow us? Why did they follow us again? Why did they chase us down the highway? Why did they give up? Would love to hear from you on that if you have some thoughts. And I also just would love for you to share this video if you think it could be helpful to somebody who maybe doesn't know what to do in these kind of situations or have never faced this kind of situation. I can tell you this. The best defense we had tonight was our vehicle, because we were in it and we had the gas pedal and we had the road, and I used it. I used the road to get out of there. And so we weren't going to stick around, try to figure out what these people wanted. I didn't care what they wanted. I wanted out of there, and I didn't want to stick around to find out what they wanted from me. So that's what I learned. Gratitude, awareness, and personal responsibility. That's what I've got for you tonight. I would love for you to subscribe to this channel if you want more content on self-publishing, personal development, and online business. And I'm grateful to be still here to still make videos for you on those 3 topics. And I will see you in the next one.